Hello, it is Dr. Chris Raquel, and I'm back again with a video for today. I hope you all are doing amazingly. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. You can also send me a email at askcrystalraquel@gmail.com if you have any questions that you would love to see me answer on a video. So I have a very funny topic today, but it's really important. It is specific to individuals who may be feeling a little bit lonely and they begin to seek animals and pets to have and to care for. And that may seem nice when you think about it, but the problem is that people are trying to put all this focus on a pet, on an animal, having these expectations, when in reality what they really want is a relationship. And there's nothing wrong with having a relationship, there's nothing wrong with having pets, but in my opinion, there is an issue if you're looking for a pet just because you're lonely and you would really like to have a relationship instead. And one of the main reasons that is a problem is because then when the person finally gets the relationship, they begin neglecting their pets. They're no longer interested in their animal. Maybe their partner, their new boyfriend or new relationship doesn't like pets. And then now they're seeking to give the pet up or to really just neglect the pet. So it's really important. So please listen to me when I'm telling you, yes, it is 100% okay to give love and care for pets, but we really have to be doing it for the right reasons. Think of it this way. Our pets are really relying on us, and a lot of us are the only ones that they know, or they might have lived somewhere else, you've gone and adopted them and they've been with you for years. Our pets' lives are so much shorter than our own, cats and dogs specifically, or whatever animal you go and get. But you really have to be careful because you don't want to be that person who is really just bringing in a pet for a certain time, being really selfish in that moment. You want something to look after. You may not have children, you don't have a partner, so now you're looking for an animal to get that unconditional love, and you're caring for your pet in that moment, feeding them, giving them baths, grooming them, playing with them, and all those sorts of things. And it's really just for your own enjoyment. Because of the outcome, you're saying, you love animals, you care for them, you want to make sure that they're not on the streets if there's a stray or something like that, or if they were in the pound, you want to make sure that they don't end up getting euthanized and all those things. But we know that is not true, because as soon as you finally get that relationship, as soon as you're no longer single, now you're not feeling that same way about your pet. Your pet is annoying you now, and now your whole focus is on your relationship. If you have a pet, understand that it is supposed to be for a life. I'm not saying for your life, I'm saying for their entire life, because a lot of times they're all they know. And look at the way dogs are. Dogs are very loyal. I'm just thinking, and I grew up and I had pets, and dogs really do love you. They'll remember you. It really depends on how you treat them, of course, but they really, really love you, and they're your family. They see you as their family. So for you to get a pet just for a moment because you want something to do, you want something to take care of, you don't have children, you don't have a man. I'm talking to men too, but I know a lot of ladies do this. You have pets, you're basically collecting animals. It could even just be one. And then now, when you have what you want, which is a relationship, marriage, fiance, boyfriend or girlfriend, if you're a man, and now you're neglecting your pet, you're not that interested, you're seeking a way to give them up. You have to be mindful of those things. That actually is very bad character. If you do not think you're going to be able to keep that pet with you for the life of the pet, you do not need a pet. You don't need a pet for right now, because you're just going to be giving the pet away. And of course, the pet can eventually have a new owner if you do decide to give him or her away. But that's not the intention of having an animal. You need to be thinking about not just yourself, but what's in the best interest of the pet. You might say to yourself, well, if I hadn't adopted a pet in that moment, they would have been euthanized, or they wouldn't have been in such a good home. Sure, that is true. However, just make sure you are doing things for the right reason. Because think, okay, yes, animals are not people, but think about if it were you. We see situations where there are adopted children or children in foster care, and they speak when they grow up about, well, not the adopted kids, but the ones that are in foster care, they speak about how they were just shuffled around, right? They went from this home to that home. They didn't have any stability. And yes, we can't ask an animal who has been through different homes whether or not they feel stable, but we can imagine that they do not. They may even think back at their previous owner and like wonder where they are. Like, just imagine those things. And they're animals, they have no way of finding that previous owner. So just think about that, what we know about foster care or people who are adopted. Think about how you would feel if you were constantly moved around to different homes, or you had a family, you really loved them, they cared for you. They cared for you from birth or like a few weeks of age, and then a couple years later, maybe halfway through your, no, not halfway through your life, halfway through your childhood, then all of a sudden you got shifted to another home, or you were put in a place where there were a lot of other children halfway through your childhood, and then a different family came and decided to take you and live with them, and you never ever got to find out what happened to your previous family. And then maybe your second family isn't even as good as your first family from your perspective. You might have that longing. So just really think about it. You know, the Bible even talks about how a good man, a good person cares for the animals. So, you know, make sure that you're doing things in love, having a high character, and don't think to yourself, oh, you know, animals aren't people. It's completely different. It's completely different. Yes, animals are not people, but you should not be seeking pets and animals to replace a relationship. Focus on the things that you need to do to be able to get that relationship that you want. And don't, in the meantime, start bringing animals into the equation. You want to get to the point where the animals that you bring into your life are going to be there for you for the long haul. And something just came to mind. I remember with one of my pets, I remember that one of my pets had babies, and then when that animal, my pet, had babies, I you know, there were people coming to take these babies, and what ended up happening was, later on, months later, one of the young ladies that ended up adopting one of these pets from me, she came back, and I was like, this lady has a boyfriend now. She came back, and what she said, she was like, oh, something regarding like she was allergic, or, you know, can I take the pet back? Mind you, this is months later, and these were babies. Can you take the animal back? You know, I'm not gonna be able to care for him anymore. And then she started mentioning a boyfriend. So you don't want to be that person. Please, 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 if you are looking to adopt an animal or take on a pet, please make sure that you are thinking of having that pet in your life until the end of their life. It's not until you can change your situation around and now you have a man, now you have a girlfriend. That's not what it's about. And remember, this pet is going to be there before you get that relationship. So don't now try to give those animals away. It's completely different. Let's say you have a pet, and then now you have a child, and now your pet is acting vicious and attacking your child. That is different. I'm talking about people who now they have a relationship and now they want to give their animals away. They loved their animals while they were single, but now it's not so important to them. So just really keep those things in mind. And I know I said it was kind of a funny topic, and it really is, but I have seen these things happen. And you want to just make sure that you're doing the right thing. Live your life in a way with character. You don't want to be someone who is mistreating animals, and don't think to yourself like, oh, well, it's just an animal. If you're going to mistreat an animal, that tells me that you're going to mistreat a child. You're going to mistreat other things. You're going to do things in a shady manner. You want to do things in such a way where everything in your life is done with high character. And, you know, we have to make sure we're really taking care of the animals, taking care of people, taking care of everything that God has given us, because God is really watching us. He's not saying to himself, oh, well, that's an animal. They can't speak. So it's okay. Do what you want. No, God wants us to treat animals with care. And you might say, well, you know, I am treating them with care because I'm not abusing them and all these things. That's one thing, but also just do what you would want done to you. So keep those things in mind. Let me know what you think about this topic. Have you come across this situation where people just, while they're single, they have a whole bunch of pets, but then once they're no longer single, those pets disappear, or people aren't that interested in those animals anymore? Let me know what you think, and have an amazing, blessed day. Bye.